It's Christmas in Doctor Who. Not right now. It's currently the first...
What did you get me? What did you get me for Christmas?
This crocheted limb. That I have to explain that's what it is, because right now it looks like something else that could probably get us kicked off YouTube.
It's a dog's leg.
No, it's not. It's a crocheted dog's leg. We don't hoard dogs' legs.
Anymore.
It's August the 1st, 2020. For you guys, it's probably... No, it's August the 1st, 2021.
Oh,
we were just talking about this today.
Spooky.
That we've hit August in 2021, and it feels like...
It should be August.
It feels like it should be 2020 because, like, everything's been crap. Like, everything's been crap. So, at least we got to sort of time travel and visit Christmas with Doctor Who. Segue. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Doctor Who Review. Man and woman who be married. Talk about Doctor Who. I haven't reviewed it from the very beginning because Muggins over here decided it was a good idea, and here we are.
And I regret everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you? Have you hit the point now where you regret it?
No. I feel like
God.
I'm going to start to, though.
Why?
When it gets to a certain someone, I will regret my decision.
Yeah, but you said that about Sarah Jane, and then you said that about Martha, and you were completely won over both times.
Do you think I'm going to be won over by Clara? Do you really think I'm going to be won over by Clara? Do you think I'm going to be won over?
Comment down
I'm
below.
going to be run over by Clara?
Run over by Clara? Oh, God.
I'd rather be run over by Clara.
Even Danny Pink preferred being run over than being with Clara.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm Chris.
I'm not Chris.
And we're here to talk about the next Doctor. Ooh, who could it be? Well, funnily enough, at the time of recording, it's 2 days since they announced that Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall are leaving the show.
Oh.
So everyone's been speculating. Future me. Who was it? Anyway, why don't you tell me now so that we could put a bet on at the bookies and earn some cash. Some wonga, which we don't have.
Can anybody actually see that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, above the Cyberman.
Well done. Speaking of Cybermen, next Doctor, 2008 Christmas special, the first of the David Tennant specials year, and a bit, and the first story in technically his last run. What's the plot, young lady?
The Doctor appears...
This guy.
What?
It's this guy here.
I thought you were pointing at my leg. I was like, well, this is the Doctor. This legginged leg.
This video is already 20 minutes long. We are dallying.
The Doctor
this guy
appears on Earth at Christmas.
It's this place.
On his own, just, experiencing life. Just
on his Robert Todd.
On his Toddle Todd. And he can hear somebody shouting for the Doctor. And he's like, oh, there we go again. And starts running, and he finds the person shouting for the Doctor, and he's like, yeah, I'm here, what is it? And she's like, who are you? What are you talking about? Get out of town.
Get on out of here with my eye holes.
And
That's what she's like.
The Doctor that she's talking about appears. But it's not whom you'd think it is.
What does that mean?
It's not the Doctor.
But it is.
But it is the Doctor.
It totally is the Doctor.
Not. And our Doctor, David Tennant, is like, oh hey, we've got a bit of a mix up here.
Is he now?
Yeah. And so our Doctor is convinced that he's a future incarnation of the Doctor, because obviously he would recognise if he were a past one.
Mm-hmm.
But this Doctor, this new one, doesn't recognise him. And he's really confused by it. And the thing they're investigating, turns out people are aren't people going missing? Is it one of them again?
People have been snatched from the streets. Animals have gone missing, and now it turns out that the workhouses that basically are foster homes / orphanages, yeah, at the same time are being targeted.
Yeah.
They're nicking the bloody kids.
They're nicking kids, like...
They're nicking the
and
chuffing kids.
And the Doctor have a...
For anyone who can't hear that, an ice cream bench went past.
Sorry. The thing that brings them together is a big furry Cyberman.
Mm-hmm.
But what are they called?
They're called Cyber Shades, is the name.
Cyber
Shades.
It looks a bit like... if you've seen... I don't know why I'm asking you because you can't respond. Attack the Block.
Yeah. I mean, not as scary, but the big shaggy sort of black fur.
Big shaggy mass that is running around, but it's got a Cyberman's face.
A bronze kind of...
steampunky kind of...
put together. And steampunk is a theme in this story. If you're watching this, you've probably seen it, so let's not break down the plot beat for beat. Let's talk specifics.
You asked me what happened.
The box synopsis. The Doctor arrives in Victorian London to find another incarnation of the Doctor running around without him knowing who it could be. Meanwhile, mysterious disappearances reveal the Cybermen getting involved in a plot in the streets beneath Victorian London. That's how you do it.
I think we've established
That's how you do it, mate. That's how you do it.
Not Chris cannot describe things for love nor money.
What did you have for breakfast this morning?
I can't remember.
See, that's proof. That's actual proof. You had breakfast this morning, and I'm like, "What did you have for breakfast?" Yeah, I can't remember. We go off on a new tangent.
You described that, and it just happened.
Yeah.
Why did you repeat it?
Incredible.
What are we talking about?
Let's talk about the basic premise of this episode, which is such a great idea. The Doctor runs into an incarnation of the Doctor that he doesn't recognise, meaning it's a future incarnation of the Doctor.
I already said that.
What the hell? I know, but let's discuss that.
Yeah, so the Doctor he's really confused because he says all the things like the TARDIS, a sonic screwdriver. Or he just says screwdriver, doesn't he? He refers to
Rosita, which in itself is the Doctor's sort of Rosita.
Yeah,
okay, nice.
Think
right.
about flowers.
But he refers to Rosita as his faithful companion, and he is absolutely... I mean, the Doctor's always had a bit of Victorian chic to the look of the character. A lot of the incarnations have that in their design.
Yeah.
Edwardian or Victorian sort of archetypes within their clothing. So this Doctor is for sure okay, not going to bat an eyelid. We're in Victorian London. He's in a Victorian outfit. Sure, I can imagine that's what he's wearing anyway. Why not?
But it's been said multiple times that if you come across yourself in a future timeline, that could reverse the polarity of the neutron flow.
You just wanted to say that, even though it makes no sense. Even though your statement makes no sense whatsoever.
It would be a bad thing.
Well, not with the Doctor. The Doctor's mentioned that they shouldn't meet. It's bad. Whenever they do meet, it's not something that's going to end in a good thing. You know what I mean? It's either they've been forced together to work together, which means something bad's happening, or them meeting could be a disaster. So far, they've only ever been brought together to deal with a bigger threat, or in the case of the Second Doctor and the Sixth Doctor, it's something's happened to my earlier incarnation that doesn't feel like it was meant to happen. I need to go and find them and figure out what's gone on. And then obviously the last time it happened with the 10th and the 5th, it was because two TARDISes collided and it was going to result in a bloody big explosion in the vortex. We need to sort this out. So here it's just a case of, I've stumbled into me. All right, okay. The fact he doesn't recognise me is weird. Because that's the thing, isn't it? We know with the Doctors, when a future incarnation, it's been mentioned in the 3 Doctors and the 5 Doctors, when a future incarnation meets an earlier one, the future one sort of is meant to, unless it's time crash, the future one is meant to lose the memory of having seen it as the earlier incarnation while it's happening. It's like a circumstance of them being together.
Right.
It's to make sure that, time doesn't sort of screw itself up completely. Because otherwise, for example, if the 3rd Doctor and the 2nd Doctor got together in the 3 Doctors, and the 3rd Doctor was like, oh no, I know what I'm doing, and he presses one button and they immediately vanquish Omega and there's no threat. And the 2nd Doctor's like, what are you doing? It's like, well, I saw you I remember being you doing this, so I just sort of prepare for it. Then there's no adventure. The way it's explained away is because they're there at the same time to stop their timelines getting completely convoluted. So that the earlier incarnation doesn't have their timeline screwed up by knowing exactly what's going to happen to them in the future. The future version, when they're in proximity, forgets what the past version remembers of this event. Because then also there's still a threat level there too.
Yeah.
Because if they don't remember living through it, it's possible that they might not live through it. Then there's still a threat. Well, think about that though. Think about it. If the third Doctor died in the events of the 5 Doctors, then how would the 5th one even be there? Unless time is in flux unless time is in flux when they're near each other, so there is a failsafe. Basically, when they're near each other, the rules of time go a little bit out the window.
A little bit askew.
Yeah. Which is why they're like, we need to deal with whatever needs to be dealt with as soon as possible, because the longer this goes on, the worse it's going to be. Meanwhile, over at Big Finish, there's a crossover every week. But yeah. So the 10th Doctor, of course, is meeting this Doctor, and you think that the next one along, or however far along he is, would sort of be like, oh, hello, what are you doing here? Oh my goodness, this isn't supposed to happen. Do you know what I mean? But he's not. Yeah. So that is a really interesting thing, because then it sets up this great dynamic where the 10th Doctor is kind of trying to, at first, not give away who he is and just sort of go along with it like he's a random bystander. He kind of gets to play the role of the supporting character in a story for a bit.
Yeah, he gets to use his name, John Smythe.
Which is interesting that Doctor doesn't bat an eyelid at that. He's not like, alright. He's just sort of like, okay, Mr. Smith. You're like, interesting. The fact that he doesn't remember anything means that the 10th Doctor's investigating on the quiet the entire time as he pieces the puzzle together. And if you've already seen it, you know that it isn't a future incarnation of the Doctor, despite the 10th Doctor worrying that it might be him after having tripped over a brick. And also, based on what Moffat introduces later, but it doesn't count here, this incarnation's technically the last one. So, he has to assume it's, the next one along. As at this point, as far as we, the viewers, were concerned when the story came out, and as it was conceived, so that's why I'm not dwelling on it too long, David Tennant is the 10th Doctor. But according to Moffat's rewrite at the end of Smith's run, there's obviously the War Doctor in between 8 and 9. So 10's 11. The 11th spot. 10's the 11th regeneration. Yeah. But then he also has the Meta Crisis, where he regenerates and then throws off the excess regeneration energy into the hand, his handy spare hand. He says, what would I want to change? Look at me. Well, and then he moves on. So 11, Matt Smith, is technically the 13th incarnation, which is confirmed in Smith's last story. Because he knows that when he dies in that story, he's dead. Despite Moffat breaking his own rule there, because in an earlier Smith story, he gets shot by the astronaut, starts to regenerate, and then gets shot dead. So, pick a lane. Point is, but it means that reverse logic, the 10th Doctor would immediately assume that this guy's the next one along, because he knows that he's the second to last one himself.
Yeah.
So the fact that, he's like, wait, you don't remember who I am? Okay, this is interesting. And they set up the mystery of it. I've got to admit, they set the mystery up really well. I think if you're a kid watching this, or watching this for the first time, you would kind of be open, if you obviously didn't know what was coming next, so it works more in 2008 than it does now, with other Doctors having been and gone since. It works well, the idea that, shit, this might be the next guy. What's happened to him? Why doesn't he remember? Where is that? And that as a story premise is really cool. We got sort of prepared for this last series with River Song. The idea of someone from later in this story, we're meeting them out of order.
Yeah.
So that kind of trained our brains to be like, this is a thing that could happen. And then this story happens. You're like, could this actually be the next guy? Given more credibility by the fact that the next Doctor is played by David Morrissey, who at this point is a massive bloody name in UK TV because of things like Blackpool and everything. People know David Morrissey.
Have I seen him in something?
You've seen him in plenty of stuff, but you also are terrible at names and faces.
Yeah.
I mean, recently, a few months ago, we revisited the League of Gentlemen specials, the 2017 specials. Do you remember?
God's sake. Yes.
He's the police inspector in the last episode who's trying to, like, lock it down. I'm in scenes with him in that episode.
You're in scenes with a lot of people.
In that episode of the League of Gentlemen. That doesn't narrow it down.
You were in a crowd!
For Christ's sake.
There was a lot of people.
Anyway.
But I'll take your word for it.
Anyway. He's bloody great. So it's like, that's a big get. And it, at the time as well, it was a very believable casting. Like, you could see that and go, oh, okay, bit soon, isn't it? But there are clues. Like you said, there are clues throughout. The mention of TARDIS, we never see it. The sonic screwdriver is the first blatant clue. And he's like, well, is that your sonic screwdriver? And it's just a screwdriver that he's using to break into the house. And he's like, yeah, it's a screwdriver. He says, in what way is it sonic? And he's like, it makes a noise. That's sonic, isn't it? And I kind of like how the Doctor sort of reacts at first as like, I mean, yeah, sure, okay. Because he kind of could buy the fact that maybe he would also just do that one day and be like, sod it, why not? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, but the toy companies wouldn't let him. So that's the only reason the sonic screwdriver is in the modern era. You know that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
The only reason it's in the modern era is so that they can make toys of it. I'm sure there are loads of writers on the show, or prospective writers, who are like, I would love to get rid of it. I would love to get rid of it.
It's
so
just
bad.
Easy way to get out of things.
Don't worry, we'll invent the deadlock seal. Anyway. And the fact that he's got time in his memory missing is such a great hook. I love the eventual reveal. I don't think it's a cop-out. I think it's brilliant for the story. So, Jackson Lake, who is the one man that's gone missing that they never found the body of, but they've got all of his luggage as evidence.
And he's aware of him.
He's aware of him because, well, he's aware that he was the first person apparently murdered by the Cybermen. And you know, he and Rosita, he's recruited Rosita, who's also noticed that stuff's been going on, so like she's joined him to help him solve this mystery. We get the idea that...
Because he saved her or something.
Yeah, he saved her from Cybershade or Cyberman. And we get the idea that, like, he's here on this mission and he's staying here till it's sorted. So it's a typical Doctor Who story of he's rocked up, he's seen that something's wrong, and he's like, right, I'm going to deal with it. But the fact that he won't get rid of Jackson Lake's luggage or even open it is rather odd. The fact that certain items that they encounter, like the pocket watch, you have a little human nature fake out, which is pretty great. But like his fob watch,
it's very funny,
and you know, all these little things that are like clues that there's something just on the tip of his tongue and he's not quite getting it. He feels this terrible loss. He feels like something was taken from him, and then you find out that he and his family were the first to be attacked by the Cybermen when they arrived. And he used an info stamp to like damage them. Like he just wielded something from their like kit. And
he just used whatever he could.
To protect his family, and it worked. But like the sort of the blast back of it meant that basically an information bomb went off in his hands. We learn that the Cybermen killed his wife. We learn that they took his child. Which at first you're like, why? But then you see their entire plan and you go, oh, they were already starting the plan, so that makes sense. And yeah, the info stamp that blew up in his hands was information on the Doctor. So he just absorbed it all, and essentially to cope with the shock of what had just happened, like the loss of his wife and the kidnapping of his child, he just like dives straight into the full delusion. And it's like, that is mad. What an insanely like tragic idea in this episode that presents itself as quite fun and silly.
Yeah.
It's really freaking deep.
It is, but
it's like the loss was too much to bear, so he just plays a different role. And he performs it like
so well. Like you completely buy that he could be a doctor.
Of course he fell into the idea of the man who can travel anywhere. He wants to go away. Like he wants to escape his pain. The TARDIS is a freaking hot air balloon.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Tethered aerial release developed in style.
That's so cool.
So the info stamps. This is right. So just before we move on from that, like David Morrissey is amazing as Jackson Lake and as the Doctor. Like incredible job. I love the costume. I legit love that costume. And Valil, I'm so sorry if I get your name wrong. Tishabalala. Valil Tishabalala. Who I only now just looking at her filmography, I'm like, oh my god, of course she was in Ka-Ching. She is a fantastic Rosita. It's because you didn't watch kids' TV as a kid, did you? You sheltered yourself in a small hole and cried until adulthood came.
And yet I still cry.
I still cry now, made you go. She does a great job as Rosita, and you absolutely buy that, yep, this is totally a Doctor's companion. You could see her travelling with a Doctor in a proper story.
She's got the right amount of sass.
And again, amazing costume, like well written for what is essentially a throwaway role. Like she, you know, you get who she is, and you understand that she's here because she sees that this man needs someone to sort of like keep an eye on him, but also knows he's the one who might be able to save them from the Cybermen. So we learn through some offhanded explanation from the Doctor that the Cybermen, these are the Cybus men, these are the guys from the modern era so far, were stuck in the void. They were all sucked into the void, but there has been a war. The implication is that, not the time war, but the implication is that the events of the finale we've just watched, where the universe was sort of weakened by the oncoming detonation of the reality bomb. The implication is that the walls between universes grew weak, so the Cybermen that were trapped in the void, some of them at least, managed to get out before the void was destroyed. Like he says that the void basically doesn't exist anymore, doesn't he? So some of them got out, equipped with Dalek technology, because keep in mind they were trapped in there with a load of Daleks from the Genesis arc, and that's what they've used to kind of learn about Earth, proper like our Earth, zoom in on it. They've landed at a specific time, and they have info stamps, which is like the data caches of Daleks that they keep, presumably to eventually upload into a hive mind or whatever. They have used that to figure out what is the best way to kind of infiltrate this Earth and how to blah 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 blah. It's a bit loose. It's a bit namby-pamby. It's because it's Christmas Day. They don't want to bog you down in continuity. This is all stuff we read into it from the dialogue provided. It's just an excuse to get the Cybermen back in it sooner. Their plan is to build a Cyber King, which is a giant dreadnought ship, basically Transformer kaiju monster thing, Megazord, that is a walking conversion machine. They're going to walk around and basically, like, War of the Worlds tripod style, snatch up people from the streets and convert them into Cybermen, using what they can at the moment. That's what the Cyber Shades are. They're like cats and dogs and pigs and humans that like were half dead and everything, turned into these kind of
so grim,
like feral, basic sort of
balls
physical task like Cybermen. And the designated cyber leader, this boy, nicking the John Lumick design with a bit of a repaint, is leading the charge, having teamed up with Miss Hartigan, played by Dervla Kirwan, who, I mean, this isn't just a guest role. This is M&S's finest, well-spoken guest role. That's literally a joke for the 20 people who remember television adverts from 10 years ago. I think they still use that format, but I don't think it's Dervla Kirwan doing it anymore. But it was her for like that first 5 years. That was her. The whole like, this isn't just a chocolate truffle. This is that. That was her. And she's great in this. Miss Hartigan's a really fun villain. So she runs one of the workhouses.
She's very boo-hiss.
Yeah, she runs one of the workhouses, and she's basically been screwed over by every single businessman and whatnot around the place that take kids for labour.
Because she's a woman.
Yeah, it's tale as old as time, and hell hath no fury, as she even bloody says in the story. Mm-hmm. But at some point, she's completely detached from her humanity. In her quest to get revenge, she's sided with these nightmarish metal monsters that have come out of nowhere to help them get children to use in their workforce. Because essentially, she's been screwed over that much. She's like, so I'll just burn it all. I don't care. Let's do it. Let's kill everybody. I don't give a shit.
Take over the world, you say? Alrighty then.
And you kind of buy it. She's sort of she's a Tobias Vaughan. She's like, characters we've met in Cyberman stories before. They've gone, yeah, screw it, I'll work with you. Why not? But she's not got like a business and a skyscraper and a computer hidden in her office and stuff. She's just one lady, and she's got some balls. Yeah, that's what she has. They've got makeshift versions of the earpieces to like control the heads of the workhouses so that they can get the kids to one specific spot without any. Because that's the whole thing, isn't it? They don't want to arouse suspicion. The Cybermen could just sort of use what fleet they have.
Yes, we'll use this electricity headband.
No, but
these people definitely not find.
No. I mean, like the Cybermen could stomp through Victorian London and try and get everything sorted, but they might be stopped. Like if they were just stomping around, going, right, we're going to build a ship, and we're going to do this, that, and the other, and we're going to make it obvious that that's what we're doing.
Well, I say
you could have people like
jolly not on my watch.
People could lock them down there and like redirect the Thames or whatever to flood into the space, or do you know what I mean? Stuff could happen.
Rachnos style.
They could do something to trap them or stop them. It'd take a lot, but it's possible. Whereas, like, using the kids and just slowly siphoning them down into these mines to do, like, the job is, like, okay, and then the moment it's ready. So we have the Cyber King.
The thing is... Sorry, can I just add?
Yeah.
The thing that's really depressing is that it's a slight commentary on society of that day. That all those kids were going missing and nobody noticed.
Yeah.
Because that's how.
Well, because Dickens is on tour, not writing about it.
Oh my god!
He's off in Cardiff,
having a whale of a time with some ghosts. No, yeah.
Phantasmagoria.
Yeah, it's depressing that kids were literally recyclable. No, that's not the right word. They are disposable. Sorry, not recyclable.
They were, stick them down the chimney with a brush. They'll be fine. Oh, they died. Never mind. Shove another kid down there to get them out.
We'll have to get somebody up there to get out the corpse.
Yeah.
Yeah, people in Victorian era, you were dicks. Excuse my language, but you were. So
Jackson Lake's reunited with his son, which is, again, it's great because he's sort of like, there's still something I feel like I'm not remembering. And then he sees his kid and it hits him. And he's like, oh my god, that's my son. Like, it's...
Imagine if he'd gone up to him and gone, I'm not your son.
Well, we joked about that, didn't we? He snatches him up and it's like, that's not my kid. Like, what? All soot-covered, long-haired, blonde, white children are the same? Are you just going to steal us all? Huh?
Dad, I'm like 15. I'm over here.
I'm an old lady.
I've been waiting for you. What have you been doing?
What have you been, Dad? Running around cosplaying. You've been LARPing. You've been LARPing, Dad. So, the 10th Doctor sort of suggests that he knows what a Cyber King is, which means that there probably is a version of it in the main universe at some point. Like, it's been a thing or a planned thing for the main Cybermen at some point.
That kind of implies that Cybermen have tried this before. Oh, damn.
No,
Let's try this again.
It kind of implies that there's been a Power Rangers / Godzilla movie version of the Cyber King somewhere in the Doctor's past, where it's just like David Banks, but with a model city walking around going, excellent, smashing buildings. And I will pay good money to see that adventure, please.
So we've started a Kickstarter.
No, but you know what I mean? That, like, if this is what it looks like now, steampunk one made from Victorian technology...
I think it looked creepy.
It looks creepy, but it's also kind of like, and? Is this it?
What do you mean?
Like, we're just sort of...
I think it looks really cool.
I think maybe it's because we don't see it carry out its threat.
I think the fact that it's, its face is there is scary enough.
and Miss Hartigan sort of gets assimilated into it. That was their plan. That's the reason why they put up with her, not just to use her for resources, but then they were like, we're gonna give you some.
Excuse me.
What?
Put up with her.
Yeah. The Cybermen don't need her.
She's a strong,
for
powerful
Christ's
woman.
sake, they utilise her into getting the workforce stuff out of the way, and then when it's done, they could just kill her.
Yeah, they could.
But it turns out they've gone, do you know what? You're a good strategist. You've got a pretty devious mind, so you're going to be the Cyber King. We're going to hook you up into the ship, and you are going to be like the brain. You're going to be the pilot. She's like, I don't want this, you buggers. They hook her up. She's like, hang on, actually, oh my god, I've got access to all this vast repository of knowledge and everything now. Oh my word. Okay. Oh, also, like, I guess I could kill you too. So she kills
over this town.
She kills the cyber leader and then pilots the thing up out into the world. Basically, is like, I'm gonna screw you all over, baby you. And the Cybermen all kind of like fall in line because they're essentially not reprogrammed, but they're
all hail the Cyber King.
All hail the Cyber King. But like they,
surely they wouldn't say that.
They become, well, they did though, didn't they? But that's what I'm saying. Like they immediately become subservient because like it's sort of a not a hive mind, but it's you know, like she's in charge, so whatever she says goes. So they're just like, yep, okay, cool. That's just what we do now.
Yeah. And
that's my one issue with this. This is because ultimately I like this special a lot.
Yeah.
It's really fun. It's a
fun.
really cool idea. The next Doctor himself, you know, Jackson Lake, Rosita, they're great characters. Miss Kerwin is having a blast as Hartigan, as Mercy Hartigan. The Cybermen do look cool marching through the snow. Like the way they're shot could be a little bit more intimidating. They're just kind of there. And it's like, wait, what? I like the legs on silent throwaway joke. Like there's a lot of stuff to enjoy. The ending, where the Doctor basically like info stamps it out of existence, and then Jackson convinces him to actually join them for Christmas dinner.
Yeah, that's so friggin' cute.
Which makes sense because as he points out after he has his journey into the actual TARDIS, he runs around just going, "This is mad! This is insane! Oh, it's wonderful madness! No, I've got to get out! I've got to leave! Get me out of here!" And he just gets out of it because he's like, he knows if he stays there any longer he's going to have too many questions and it's going to blow his mind. I love that. And I love that he's basically like, you shouldn't be alone at Christmas, and I know, like, you have no friends, and the Doctor's like, not anymore. Like,
you've not got any friends.
Well, no, you get the thing of like, he's still feeling the loss of Donna.
Yeah.
And he's probably feeling guilty after what Davros essentially opened his eyes to, which is like, the Doctor, man who abhors violence, never carrying a gun, but this is what you do. You take ordinary people and you turn them into weapons. He's feeling really guilty about taking anyone with him right now.
Oh,
so when someone offers him, well, you don't forget that. Just come and have dinner. Come and have Christmas dinner.
That's so cute.
He's like, okay, fine.
Oh, just this once.
Like that's really great. But my only issue is this is the beginning of the Cybermen not being interesting ever again. They still do cool stuff going forward, and we have highlights. But this is you know what I mean?
Here are Cyberman
highlights. like the Nightmare and Silver redesign, the Turk in that story, the gutted one that's at the chessboard. Mr. Clever in that story is a great idea. A Shard in the 13th Doctor's era, the half-converted guy who loves like carrying out violence. Like there's some great... the use of the Cybermen in the Pandorica Opens. Like there's some great...
They were cool.
It's a cool idea, but it's a you see them for like a minute. But do you see what I mean? Like there's cool things like that where you go, oh, that's interesting. But after this, they're mostly just like random villain to be used in something like Closing Time or appearing in Good Man Goes to War briefly. Or they're subservient to someone else.
Yeah.
Usually the Master. Usually in a finale. And it's like, this is just kind of... do you remember when these guys did their own stuff and they were kind of scary on their own merit?
I don't think there's too much you can really do in this.
I'm sorry. We have just watched several decades of stories where they like mixed it up.
Well, okay, no, let me rephrase.
The last time we saw them 2 and a bit series ago was a really cool storyline.
You can't...
About the slow conversion of a population. Like,
okay, I'll rephrase.
It's creepy.
There's only so much you can do with one.
True, but like...
And
do you have to pick one thing and then keep doing it?
Exactly. If that's the Cyberman you're doing, don't just like keep doing that.
Yeah.
Think of something else that they can do.
Do something new.
Yeah.
Squire. I don't hate it here, but it does unfortunately begin kind of a weird...
Yeah.
pattern for them going forwards.
I do like, though, that we don't get the, oh my gosh, you're Cybermen, I'm gonna work for you now. You know, the origin of why What's-Her-Face was with
Yeah,
the
it's cool.
Cybermen.
It's cool that it begins immediately. Like, like the invasion with Tobias Vaughan. Like they arrive in London, and the now Brigadier is like, "Hey, cool. So this thing's happening, and we think you might be able to help us out." I like that, but I just I don't know. The next Doctor, I dig it. It's all right. How about you?
Can you dig it? Yes, you can.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
thank
fun.
God.
Yeah, I like the Doctor in it. I like the 10th Doctor in it. I think he's very. You almost see all of his personality, like cheeky chappy, adventurous, funny, caring, kind of.
A little bit foxy. You thought so too.
You would like it. No, do you know what I mean? So you get all of
A
the
lot of
Doctor,
facets
really.
of Dave Oyed.
Yeah, and it's nice, and I really, really love the fact that they went for Christmas dinner, and I think that's just so friggin' cute.
This is also the third time where we've just really had an adventure with him. I mean, I'm not talking about Midnight. This is like the third time where we've just had an adventure with him, where it's just him, random characters for that story set at Christmas.
I like it.
Yeah, Runaway Bride, Voyage of the Damned. This one. It's not. He's a Doctor who does work well when he's on his Todd. He's also really the first Doctor ever that we kind of get to see that with. Like, we got it with Tom a couple of times, didn't we? Where it was like a story that's just him, or but like, Tennant's the first Doctor that we really get that with, and we get more of it now going forward. So, what did you think of the next Doctor? Let us know down in the comments. Is it? I'm curious to know. Is it anyone's favourite Tennant Christmas special? Because I feel like it isn't a lot of people. So I'd like to meet those for whom it is their favourite Tennant Christmas. And join us next time, not too far from now, where we'll be getting together for another holiday, another Christ holiday. As at Easter, but not really, maybe based on when these uploads are, we will be going to the planet of the dead. Ta-da for now! Bye! Oh, milk!